have decided to do something that I've never done before, which I don't even have people on here. I just started it. I'm gonna see if somebody joins. But I have decided to do a live. I have never done a live before because personally, they actually scare me to do. I feel like I won't have like enough to say, and I also feel like what if nobody joins and talks to me? Like right now. Oh, wait, we have our first joiner. Hi. I've decided to do a live. I've just been rambling for the first couple of seconds, but thanks for joining my live. But I decided to do one, guys. We just had a fresh rain, so everything has water on it and it looks so nice and it smells really, really nice outside. Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, people are coming in. So I decided to do something that scares me today, and I decided to do my first official live ever from, I've never done one, guys. So thank you guys for hopping on so I'm not just like here talking to myself. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are all doing great. So to keep this like interesting, you guys can ask me any questions if you want to ask me questions. I'm gonna go live until it like starts raining again because it has been drizzling a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. This is my backdrop. This is my little small space garden as you guys have seen it. I'm really thankful for it right now, guys, because it is very, very abundant. There's a lot of things growing in my garden right now, and it's been kind of crazy. She says, I don't think I've ever seen you do this. No, I have never gone live because little known fact about me, guys, I have a little bit of like social anxiety. I feel like when it comes to me just being able to like chat, even though I own a business that involves me to be very social, it's still like this scares me because my biggest fear was like, what if nobody jumps on and says anything to me? Then I'm just talking to my phone, which is pretty much, I guess, just like me talking to my phone when I'm just doing my garden tours or different things like that. But yeah, social anxiety is real for me. um, Said I wish my garden looked like that. Yes, you guys, we are desert gardeners here, so this is our time. During the summer is when it's hot and I'm covered in shade cloth and I'm miserable. So it's still growing, but it's hot. So this is our time to be able to do it. And Big Nisi, thank you. So also Big Nisi, I want to say thank you for your Hanukkah card. I went to our pillbox after we have been sick for most of January, it felt like. And it was so nice to see a Hanukkah card. So thank you so much for sending that over to me. And yeah, so I wanted to talk to you guys about some of my success and failures from this winter garden. Said, well, I'm here to listen. Oh, thank you so much. So some of my success from my garden, I would say, are gonna be my squash. If you guys haven't been watching my channel for a while, or if you have been watching my channel, you know that squash was difficult for me. It was crazy, like that every time I tried growing it, I just had issues, it died. But starting it in the fall and growing it, I've been able to grow my Mexican gray squash, which is my favorite squash, and it has done so well, like so well. Everything has gone really good with it. We get about like maybe like 2 to 3 squash a week, and which is a lot. Sorry if you guys can hear the street noise. It is rush hour traffic, so you might hear a couple motorcycles that I can't cut out. I see that your dinosaur Kel in the background. Yes, my dinosaur Kel is right there, and also we have some more right here and right here. I just did a harvest on it. If you guys watch my harvest video, the dinosaur kale is one that always does really well in my garden. Greens in general, so like collard greens and kale always do really, really good. Bok choy is one of those things that it's hit or miss. Right now, this is my bok choy, and it looks beautiful. We did pick one, but some years it could be hit or miss. I found that when I grow right after a Shemitah year, which for those of you guys who don't know, we're a Jewish household, and Shemitah is every 7 years you're supposed to rest your garden. And a Shemitah year is miserable for the garden. Like if you try and grow, well, when I try and grow during one, it's like every bug is eating everything, everything is everything, and your garden is begging for a rest. And we are, we're supposed to rest our gardens every 7 years. So always the 2 years after my first Shemitah garden, or my Shemitah garden, it is like really, really productive, which is why we have a lot of food in the freezer right now, because we had 2 years. I think Shemitah ended in 2022 and the next one's in 2028. So we've had a lot of success in those last 2 years and a lot in the freezer. So usually my year 3, I kind of just plant everything by what we're going to be eating, like what I want to eat for dinner. So I plant like maybe 2 of one thing, 3 of another thing, 4 of something else, like that. Like I really don't do a lot of like freezer filling unless it's like herbs. Do you rest the entire garden? Yeah, you're supposed to rest your entire garden for a year. I hope you guys can't hear the AC. I forgot to go turn it off. We actually have the heater on because it's a little chilly. For all of you guys where I said we were going to have a February fake out, we had the February fake out and it is chilly and rainy, so we have the heater on the inside. But yes, we do rest the entire garden. You're supposed to just kind of let whatever happens to your garden happen. So if it decides to grow some seeds that had self-seeded itself, you just do that, and you basically feed, the environment. So anything like when Henry, our crazy little squirrel that we had a couple years ago, he came during a Shemitah year. We had bunnies during a Shemitah year, and I really didn't do anything to stop them from eating. I let them kind of have their fill of the garden because I did plant, even though I shouldn't have, and it was miserable. So I don't suggest it. You will always know when you're in the midst of a Shemitah year because, like I said, everything in your garden will feel like it's going wrong. And that's just your garden telling you that you need to rest it. But the year afterwards, and I didn't even grow the entire year that year, but the year afterwards, your soil is so nice. It's like everything is great. Oh, a lot of times people will put down like beans and stuff like that, or like cover crops for a Shemitah year too. Ones that they don't really use, but they just kind of let the animals have them. So it's important to kind of make sure that you have like food in the freezer and have all of that going so that, you have food for that year that you're resting your garden. Hi, welcome to my live. I decided to do something new and do something that scares me today. So this is what I'm doing. One of the things I had we got a phone call. One of the things I think I had a difficulty with this year, which I'm kind of thinking, and that is my celery. My celery in my bed is doing really, really well, but my celery in my pots, they're growing, but they're not growing tall. So that could be just the soil that I had in the pots, but it always grows a lot better in the beds. But when I separate my celery, I always have like 32 or 30 something celeries. So it's really crazy. Hi, Jen. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Jody. Hi, Sprouting with Chai, I think it is. So I think my celery would probably be the only thing this year that is actually giving me a little bit of issue. But so far, this has been one of the best years we have had. And it's just been a nice kind of warm, like not overly cold or anything like that. We haven't even had a freeze, like a full freeze, where we would get down to like 25 degrees or anything like that here. So it has been one of those years that if you just want to have like some nice food from the garden and being able to really make this your pantry, this is one of those years to do that. Have you had any luck with basil in ground or in a pot? Yes, this right back there is my tower basil. Normally I plant my basil next to where that tomato is, right there. I grow my black cherry tomato right there, and I plant my basil right underneath it. And I plant a Genovese basil. It grows really, really well, and the tomato usually protects it. This year I didn't want to plant as much stuff in that area. I just planted a San Marzano tomato there, and I didn't plant my black cherry because if you guys remember, my black cherry like overproduced. I had the biggest bumper crop I think I've ever had. Like my neighbors, I was like leaving buckets of like tomatoes on their doorstep. Like that's how many tomatoes that I have. Thank you. I grew 4 celery plants last year. Hope to grow more. Yes, Big Niecy, grow more of them. One of the best things you can do is make celery salt. I use the celery leaves for my celery salt, and I just dehydrate the leaves, blend them down. I add some Redmond's Real Salt to them, and then that's one of my favorite seasonings to like mix in with my blends. And then also the stems, I chop them up, and I use part of the stems for making bone broth, and the other part I just use in like, you know, soups and stews. And every now and then while it's growing, we'll come out and have like ants on a log where we'd have like celery, peanut butter, and raisins. It's that childhood favorite that, you know, everybody loves. It says, hey, have you had better luck with your lavender? So Linda, yes, my lavender is right back there. It's still really, really small, but I think that's just because the warmth, like the warm air hasn't like really, really come in maybe. But I've had like lavender regrets, because the one time I did grow lavender and it was like all pretty, it got attacked by ants, and that was the only time I've ever really seriously had ants in my garden, and it came from that lavender plant. So this year I'm hoping that it grows fine, because I love to use lavender in my bath water, so I'm hoping it grows fine. Says, you just got the notification. Well, I'm glad you came. Hello, I'm doing something new. It says, I loved your black cherry tomato. I was thinking of not pruning my suckers. Yeah, so I just trim the base of my tomato plants. Even my tomato plants that are in pots, which this one's kind of entwined. So let me see if I can move the camera this way. But even my ones that are in pots, I just trim the base of them, but I let them go wild. So my bush tomato plants, my big tomato plants, I just let them go insanely wild and do their own thing. You want to trim the base of it, because then you don't want it to get like, like blight. And a lot of times it'll get blight just because the dirt is popping up from it, from the soil, like when you water. So if you keep that little base of it trimmed, you'll be good, and then you'll just grow a lot of tomatoes. It says, happy Samira, I planted some seeds in Queen Creek and hoping to get, yes, it's going to be probably a good year. I don't even think it's going to be that hot of a summer. Now, if I get on here during the summer and I'm like, guys, it's so hot, then you know I was wrong. But I don't think it's going to be like a miserable summer this year, just because it's been such a mild winter. And usually if it's a mild winter, the whole year is kind of mild. It says, do you grow from seeds? Yes, I grow a lot from seeds typically. This year, since we bought our homestead, which for those of you guys that are new to my channel, we have a 40-acre homestead, about 2.5, 3 hours from Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I'm at now at our townhouse. And we've been going back and forth with getting it cleared and kind of like putting in like, you know, well, like where we're putting the well, where we're putting septic and all that. So I grew a lot from just starts, because I just did not get my seeds in the ground. Right now, I just planted some bean seeds, and during the spring is normally when I drop seeds, because it's easier to do it. Like I don't have to start them indoors, but typically I try and start as many seeds as I can indoors. Just like I have a small space garden out here, I also have like a small like space seed growing area. So typically I can start probably about half to 3/4 of my garden indoors. 3/4 if I'm really, really like diligent about it, but usually about half the garden comes from seeds. And then during this time, like the spring, pretty much all of the garden comes from seeds, because I can just put the seeds out in the garden. It says, what seeds are you starting next? I am starting, hi Deborah, from Pennsylvania. Oh, Pennsylvania sounds cold. I started beans so far. I want to do black-eyed peas in my brassica bed over here, and where the squash is, I also want to do corn. And then I'm thinking of doing like a midget cantaloupe over here, but I don't want that same thing to happen where it crossed with my Armenian cucumber. So I think that I might get a start of my Armenian cucumber just because a little bit of PTSD, but I do have some seeds for it too. But if you guys are looking for the same Armenian cucumber that I grow, they always have it at the Arizona Worm Farm. Hopefully this is not the spring that they don't have it, but they do always have it at the Arizona Worm Farm. You don't want to put your seeds in the ground until like April time if you're planting by seeds with the Armenian cucumber. But back to this bed, I'm going to do corn, black eyed peas, and probably a melon or a cucumber. I think like another like cucumber. So thinking about it, I don't want it to cross, but I probably won't be saving seeds this year. So I thought it probably wouldn't be like that big of a deal if something did cross. Are you growing flowers this year? Yes, I have medicinal flowers. I have echinacea, my snapdragons, which somebody told me was medicinal. I think it was you, Cynthia, that told me it was medicinal. Pretty excited about that and wanting to figure out how to use that. I have chamomile, and then I also have marigolds. And all of those I use as medicinal flowers. I also have borish too that I'm going to be planting. Well, I have the little starts already. I just need to put them in their pots. So those will be the flowers that I grow. I might put some other like flowers out here. Usually I have like peonies, I think is what it's called. So I might put some of those out there later on this year. Would you do a meetup? So I haven't, just because we've been so busy, but I have talked to the Arizona Worm Farm in the past about doing a meetup. Sometimes it's hard because we have Shabbat on Saturdays and they're not open on Sundays. So I've been doing kind of like trying to figure out like a good day to be able to do that there. And then also if you guys go to the Great American Seed Up in the fall, when they have it in Glendale, it's off of Bethany Homes. It's at a church off of Bethany Homes. I always say when I'm going to be there, and usually I've gotten to meet a lot of you guys there, which has been really, really exciting. And you guys can walk around with me, so I'm not like by myself, because Mr. Benson doesn't like to go to the Great American Seed Up and watch me run around and pick up seeds. So normally you guys come with me and we run around and pick up seeds together. Where is it says, let's see it. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody's like comments. Hi, more from Pennsylvania. You guys are chilly out there. I just planted my Armenian cucumber seeds in the ground yesterday. One of the things I would do is I would put, wherever you put your Armenian cucumber seed, take like a glass jar or something and put over top of where you planted your Armenian cucumber seeds, just because we still have a little bit of a chill. That is like our nights are still cold if you're in Arizona. I don't know what it's like for anybody else, but if you're in Arizona, I would put just like a little glass jar and kind of make like a little humidity, like a little greenhouse over it. And if I plant my Armenian cucumber seeds too early, that's typically what gets me through not getting them attacked by like all the white flies and insects and different things like that, because they'll be stronger. So that's just a little tip. Wow, didn't know about the snapdragons. Yeah, neither did I. I didn't know about the snapdragons either. So I'm pretty excited to see what all they can do and see what happens there. Oh, another flower I'm growing is a indigo. I got that from one of my friends. She's here in Arizona, and that I'm supposed to be able to use as like a dye, like as a coloring. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's like going to be like indigo color. So we'll see if that happens. None of my flowers, except for my snapdragons and my marigolds, have bloomed. So it's still kind of green in the garden, but we're hoping for a lot of flowers. For those of you guys that are looking for like something to attract bees in your garden, any type of black cherry tomato and Armenian cucumbers, they produce so many flowers that you'll have bees all over your garden pretty much all summer long. My Armenian cucumber grows all the way through the hottest part of my garden. And it's like, I mean, at like 120, it has survived there. And also like my black cherry tomato goes pretty far into the summer too. So if you guys are looking to add more bees to your garden, those are really two big attractors. Didn't know about Snapchat. Oh, let's see. Crazy question. Have you ever seen a snake in your garden? So I have not had a snake in my garden, but right next door, my neighbor had a snake in her garden. Well, actually, I take that back because there is a little bitty gap between our gardens. And when we had roof rats, because the one year California had a really, really big fire, and we had roof rats, and the roof rats came to my garden, of course, because I had big tomatoes. I had early girl tomatoes, and the snake came from her garden or her backyard at night to my garden, ate the roof rats, and then went back to her garden or her backyard because she had a deck that had a gap in it, and that's where the snake was living. But as a desert girl, I'm really not afraid of snakes, guys. We respect our snakes. Whenever I go hiking, I live at the base of a mountain, so when I go hiking, I just don't touch it. Like if you get too close and you annoy them, they'll rattle and you'll be able to hear them, because most of the snakes you'll see out here are the rattlesnakes, or even like the little sidewinder. I think the ones that like to dig in the dirt, you'll see those ones too, and those ones aren't harmful. The rattlesnakes you don't want to touch or play with, but yeah, I'm not really big on snakes. I'm more afraid of like roaches, like how you guys in Florida have those big roaches that fly. I would die. I would die. We sometimes get them during like really heavy monsoon season. Like I'll be in my garden and there'll just be like a roach this big that like comes out of my compost bin, and that will have me screaming in the backyard. But a snake, I wouldn't be that bothered by it. Where do you get your seeds from? I get them from Survival Garden Seeds is one of my favorites places because you can get like those big bundles at Survival Garden Seeds. Sorry for the ambulance, guys. I hope it's not too loud in anybody's ears that is wearing headphones. I can get those in like big bundles. And then also Baker Creek is another place that I love getting like unique seeds from. The ambulance is so loud. So loud, guys. This is this is one of my biggest fears about always doing a live outside of my garden, is that would happen. But Baker Creek is another place I get like unique seeds from. And then the Great American Seed Up, which is native seeds, and those are Arizona grown seeds. So if you're looking for something that grows really, really well in a hot climate, the native seeds is a great place for that. And then what type of tomatoes are you growing this year? This year I'm growing a lot of Romas. I want to try and can a bunch this year because every year I can Roma tomatoes because we use a lot of tomatoes in this house, and I always have to buy them at the grocery store. So this year I planted a lot of Romas, and hopefully I get enough to can a bunch because I try and can at least 30 jars of tomatoes, and then I also make frozen salsa packs too. Hi, Mark. Usually Mark is the first person to say like first on my videos. I did a surprise live, Mark. It's actually my first one, and I was a little nervous about it, so I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Did not know you did lives like this. No, this, like I said, is my first live, and I was just trying it out, see what happens. I thought I would do something that scared me today. I was gonna do like a bigger video on just kind of like, things that have been growing out here in the backyard and things that I like growing. And then it rained, and who am I to stop the rain? So instead of doing that, I just decided to do a live. I started a black cherry tomato in January, and I have tons of Yes, you'll have a lot of black cherries. Usually when I start my black cherry, it's actually in October. And I just let it grow. I take it through the winter and just cover it up, and don't prune like all the suckers off of it. I just trim up the bottom, and then sometimes if it gets too wild or if it starts getting too thick where you can't like stick your hand in there, you can prune some of the suckers, but typically I like to plant it in between my arches so that then I can just splay it out versus having it trying to grow up. Like I give it the arches to kind of reach across. But if you do that, you'll have a bumper crop like I did last year. If you watched my channel last year, I had so many black cherry tomatoes. Our freezer is full right now, probably for the next 2 years worth of black cherry tomatoes. It is actually insane. Let's see. Says, yes, this is a real live. I am really live action out here with all the street noise. How long have you been gardening in Arizona? I have been gardening for, I want to say 8 years myself, but growing up, my grandmother, who just recently passed away, she had a garden in her backyard that she started maybe 50 years ago when she bought her house. And so it was always my job to go help because I was the grandkid that always like was fine with getting on my hands and knees, pulling weeds and all that. So technically I've been gardening since I was like young, but yes, in this garden back here, probably about I want to say like maybe 8 or 9 years ago, somewhere around there. My best friend actually passed away of cancer a couple years ago, and she, when I first bought this house, I bought it for my graduation present to myself from college. And she was like, "You finally have a backyard. You better do something with it because it was nothing but dirt back here." So it took a while to kind of get it built up, like my soil built up. And the raised beds definitely help because I live at the base of a mountain. So my soil is rock solid. Like there is zero topsoil out here. If you guys notice, I have wood chips just kind of like to make sure that no like weeds grow, but it's zero, 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 zero topsoil on the base of the mountain. And then it says everything died our first year. Oh yeah, I killed so many things my first year. I got a lot of starts from Home Depot, and you can take them back when you kill them and they will give you basically a new plant. And I killed so many that they were like, you can't return them anymore, like you cannot, so don't try. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, that was a whole problem, but I got better with it and I just kept trying, and I spent a lot of time with my grandma because my grandma's soil was so rich that you pretty much could just grow anything. So she kind of gave me this false sense of I was like a grade A gardener because I've been growing in her garden for, since I was little. And then when I tried to grow back here, it went haywire. But you get into a cycle of when you know to plant things, and I plant a lot with the weather. Like if the weather is rainy, then I know the next day if I need to drop seeds, I'm going to drop seeds. If it's like, chilly or something like that, then I make sure I cover it or I don't put out like fresh starts. So you kind of like get into a groove of what your garden does and the ecosystem that you create in your garden. And that's what kind of helps you to kind of learn to grow in your garden and not have everything die. But don't worry. Yeah. My first year, my husband actually called me the plant killer. It was not nice. Happy Tu Shvat. Yes, happy Tu Shvat. I hope that you tried some great fruit and veggies, or not veggies, but fruit. We had a star fruit this year that was kind of like out of the ordinary from us. So it is a Jewish holiday today, guys. So flying roaches are here in Hawaii too. Oh, I would die. No, me and flying roaches are just we're not friends. They scare me. I don't think that a roach should fly. I think it's because roaches have been around like as long as like crocodiles, like, since like the beginning of time. So the fact that they fly, that means they have had several years of evolving and also not ever going extinct. So that scares me. I am with you there on the snake and the roaches. Yes. Pimento bugs. Yes, that's what they're called. Those things, I went to Florida and they were just like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, what is that? And why is it up talking to me?" Let's see. It said I thought I was being punked. Yes, my first live ever. I want to do them like more. Like I said, I've always been afraid of one, what if nobody shows up? Two, there is so much street noise that it's insane. And so it's like there's never like a really good time for it. But maybe I'll do them like once a week and probably like after rush hour in the morning, and then it won't be so crazy. Will a cut jug in half? Yeah, a cut jug in half for your Armenian cucumbers. I was talking about if you planted any type of like super hot summer crop, kind of like which the Armenian cucumber is, in your garden, like if you plant any seeds, give it like a little humidity. So you like a glass jar, a water jug, a milk jug, all of those will do really, really well. cockroaches are on steroids. That's funny. Hi June. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Homestead planning, that is a good question. So right now we are currently, um, we are currently getting it cleared, not the whole 40 acres because that would be extremely expensive. But we went out and we have been clearing it ourselves for a first couple of months where we cleared like a landing pad so that we could be able to drive the truck up on there. And that took forever to do by hand. So the idea of clearing like a path, like a road, all the way up to the top of our land kind of just was, it was not going to be done by us. So we saved up a bunch of money. We worked really hard and we hired somebody that has like the big machinery to go out and do that. So currently we're doing that right now. He's actually up and he's been clearing it since the beginning of this week, I believe. And so they're putting in a road that goes from the main road to the top of the mountain of our land. So we'll have a big driveway. And then which is almost a mile from the main road to the top of our mountain. So our driveway is about a mile long. And then at the top of the mountain, we are getting that leveled, not like all the way down, but like leveled at the top so that then that's where we plan to build our house and our garden and all that kind of fun stuff up there. But so far, so good. It's one of those things we don't want to go into debt with. So we basically work and then do something, work and then do something. And for those of you guys that were following my truck journey, I ended up with a Ram 1500. I actually found it on OfferUp for a really, really good deal. The person had just rebuilt the engine on it. So I got a 2003 Ram 1500 for only $3,000, which I thought was a steal. It has some oil leaks, but those are getting fixed now. And yeah, that's what I ended up with. And it's the double cab. So it was, you know, it's big enough to be able to fit all of us and our future endeavors in them. Let's see, strange. I can't get this live on Comcast for some reason. I have no clue why not. This is my first live, so I don't even know. I didn't even know if I was doing it right, actually, guys. Starfruit, I'm glad I cut from the tree down to bring. They bring choke flies. I don't even know what a choke fly is, and I think I would be afraid to find out. Do you have employees for your garden? No, I am the employee back here. Sometimes my goddaughter comes back. She was the Brooklyn that was back here, and she'll help me water. When it's my time to give her some homeschooling time, we will talk about, you know, botany and science and stuff like that back here. And it's that having the garden is a great way to give her hands-on experience. So she has helped me come back and plant it and water it and all of that kind of stuff. But as far as employees, no, it's a small garden. I mean, it's only the size of a townhouse. Right now, it's always like, you know, a lot of stuff going on. Like there's a lot of harvest I need to do, and just kind of, there's not really maintenance at this time of year. It's more so like keeping up with the harvest and being able to preserve any extras. But yeah, nope, just me. Mr. Benson sometimes will come back here, but usually that just means that he's going to be eating more than he's doing because he loves raw vegetables. So he's kind of like Henry, our squirrel. He just kind of eats everything. I'll be sitting here like talking to him, and then he'll get quiet and he'll be like picking radishes or kale. Like our kale plants, he could eat like a whole kale plant down to the nub, just sitting there talking to me. Let's see. Yeah, I'm loving the Ram so far. Like so far, the Ram 1500 was a great thing. We were thinking about the Silverado too, because when we were test driving all of the cars, like basically to find what trucks that we like, we just rented them and then took them up to our land. And the Silverado and the Ram 1500 did the best. So I was really excited to find the Ram 1500 at a good price because trucks are expensive. The worms are the employees, and they work so hard. They really, really do. Hi there, this is awesome. You did excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Thank you guys for joining me and not letting me be alone on here. All right, guys. Well, I just got the text from Mr. Benson that said that he is going to be home soon. So, and we are losing sunlight. So I'm going to go inside. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my first live. I promise to do some more and we can have a lot of fun and talk about garden topics. If you guys have a idea for a garden topic, send it to me. I'll put like maybe something in the community that we can do more lives and do like some different garden topics that you guys want to know about. But all right, everybody, have a good rest of your day. Bye. I don't even know how to turn it off, guys.